Captain Willie Daniels II, Shades of Blue founder and STEM pioneer, is a pilot for United Airlines in the District of Columbia metro area at Washington Dulles Airport. Captain Daniels established Shades of Blue in 1999 overseas, overall operations of the organization, coordinating with school districts across the country. He recruits pilots, engineers, and scientists to classrooms as role models while mentoring and tracking students through college. The mission of Shades of Blue is creating educational opportunities, training, and employment assistance that is needed for youth to pursue careers in aviation, aerospace, and STEM industries.
Hello, my name is Captain Willie Daniels, and I'm the president and founder of Shades of Blue. Shades of Blue is an aviation aerospace foundation dedicated to helping create the next generation of pilots, engineers, scientists, and astronauts. We are also focusing in on STEAM and also on STEM. STEAM is science, engineering, technology, art, and math, and STEM is the science, technology, math, and engineering. The whole purpose of this is this year we're back in the Washington, D.C. area in Maryland, and we're working with our chapter here in the D.C. area, the Denver, D.C., Maryland, Virginia chapter, in order to honor America's heroes. We think it's very important for us to bring into the classrooms across the nation. We have classrooms going from out of the Canary Islands from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast and out to Hawaii, who are tuning in on this historic day to honor these historic individuals. Shades of Blue honors America's heroes. To tell you a little bit about Shades of Blue was founded in 1999 by a group of airline pilots alongside of engineers and scientists that wanted to help our educational system provide you, the students, an opportunity to pursue careers in these fields. In the next few years in our country, we're going to lose 69,000 plus airline pilots. In addition to that, we're also going to lose more than 69,000 aircraft mechanics, technologists, and so forth. We're short over 2 million engineers. Right now, this is a great opportunity for those of you who want to be involved in the fields of aviation and aerospace to get engaged, study hard, work hard, and be a part of this historic journey that we're on. In the next 30 years, we're talking about going to Mars, and we need that new human capital, that intellectual capital. These young folks that are coming up now that will be the next generation of pilots, engineers, and scientists, and it's going to help us get to Mars. We have a lot of challenges ahead of us, but these are the unique things and great opportunities that are out there for our students. Now, we're going to be inviting one of our guests, and we have a special guest coming up on our 1:30 showing, and that is going to be none other than Miss Nichelle Nichols. Miss Nichelle Nichols played Lieutenant Uhura in the original Star Trek series. This is an absolutely fantastic lady and an opportunity for you to have an opportunity to meet her. For those of you who want to tune in on our webcast, you can do it at shadesofbluewebcast@gmail.com. shadesofbluewebcast@gmail.com, and send us your questions. We'll be happy to answer those. We have our several subject matter experts to come in and speak to you today. These are some unique opportunities that we usually don't get an opportunity to talk with you directly from our nation's capital. And our very, very first guest coming in today is Mr. Ivor Dawson, who is now the president of the Traveling Space Museum. And they have a section of the Traveling Space Museum on the West Coast, and they have one here on the East Coast. And Mr. Dawson will be coming in shortly to talk to you about what the Traveling Space Museum does, and in addition to that, all of these exciting opportunities for our students. We want you to focus in, and for those of you who want to know more information about Shades of Blue, our website is www.ourshadesofblue.org. Feel free to go on there and find out more information on how to be involved. The key thing is setting up a career path that will allow you an opportunity to go from as young as kindergarten all the way through college and graduating and into the workforce. With that being said, we would like to begin to welcome our next guest, Mr. Ivor Dawson.
Here we have Ivor Dawson, President, Traveling Space Museum, never one to follow the crowd. Ivor forged his own path to space education. He even developed his own approach to teaching it. Inspired by a NASA space shuttle launch, Ivor became a volunteer space education teacher. In 1998, he became director of an experimental space museum in Los Angeles that featured full-scale replicas of famous space vehicles. Before 1998 ended, Ivor launched his own traveling space museum with a generous founding grant from Lockheed-Martin. Bringing a full-blown, space-themed circus to schools around the nation, complete with interactive simulators and a real jet aircraft, became the hallmark of the Traveling Space Museum. Ivor's theatrical approach to space education owes more to Buffalo Bill than Buzz Aldrin.
Hello, Mr. Dawson. I want to thank you for being here and being one of our subject matter experts today.
My pleasure.
We have a unique opportunity that we're providing to the classes all across the nation. We're going as far as west as Hawaii and all the way out to the Canary Islands. So, and we're covering the entire United States.
These are all areas that we want the Traveling Space Museum to visit.
And
So
this is a unique opportunity for our students. We'll be getting some questions here in a little while.
Great.
But what I'd like to do is take this opportunity to have you introduce yourself to our audience. Tell them a little bit about you and tell them a little bit about the Traveling Space Museum and what's significant for that, for them.
Maybe not so much about me, but what you guys really want to know is what the Traveling Space Museum is all about, and that's the thing. As the name implies, we are a museum that brings science and space hardware, or space hardware-like exhibits, because they're not real hardware, it's not real artifacts, but they are simulations that have been created to give students of all ages a sense of what it's like to operate equipment that astronauts use in space. So this is something like when I was a kid, I wanted a spaceship, a store-bought spaceship as a clubhouse. And when the spaceship didn't arrive, I turned a cardboard box that the freezer came into and turned that into a spaceship. Now, 50 years later, I built a full-scale replica of a space station module built inside of a trailer so that students can go in. And I know that the inspiration from that came from that cardboard box I got when I was 5 or 6 years old. So a lot of the ideas of the Traveling Space Museum grew out of daydreams and idle thoughts about how school lessons could be more exciting. I was always a bored student. I daydreamed and fell asleep in the classroom. I thought, boy, if the teacher did something more exciting, or if what I was learning was more hands-on, it would be more conducive to sparking interest and wanting me to learn more. So I made it through school, but I thought, you know, kids really should have had something like that today that I missed when I was going to school. So I created or purchased or otherwise acquired through various means all kinds of amazing simulations and real pieces of hardware. For example, we bring an actual jet aircraft onto school grounds.
Oh, really?
One of the things I was daydreaming about is, boy, wouldn't it be great if I led a squadron of jets and buzzed the school? Well, eventually, I was able to bring a F-5B jet trainer. We brought just the fuselage. We actually brought this into a schoolyard and allowed students to climb inside the cockpit, lower the canopy, press all the buttons. some kids even, they saw ejection seat and they wanted to eject themselves out of the cockpit into the schoolyard. So these are the kinds of things that we started bringing to schools.
So may I ask a question?
Sure. Yeah.
What do you think the students will get out of this? Will this inspire them to do what?
We've been doing this for 18 years, so it's not theoretical as to what'll happen. I have seen students who have come back to me after 12 years, 13 years, and said, Mr. Dawson, you don't remember me, but you came to my school when I was in preschool. I'm now a science major at the local community college.
Wow.
And 7 consecutive years of the Traveling Space Museum coming to my school, not only myself, but 4 or 5 of my classmates are also following science and math tracks in their careers. And they were coming back to thank me and be a part of docents for a Traveling Space Museum show for students at their alma mater. So this was exciting.
So if folks wanted to contact you and find out more information on the Traveling Space Museum, and I know you're associated with Shades of Blue. How would they contact you, and do you have a website?
We have a website. Our website is down. We're rearranging our website right now. The Facebook page, Traveling Space Museum Inc. on Facebook. We maintain a daily page and current events, and we've got 2,500 daily subscribers.
Oh, fantastic.
But the kinds of things that we have, and I know there's a question, maybe this is one of the questions.
It looks like we have some questions coming in from some of the schools, so we'll go ahead and answer some of those questions. The question is, who inspired you to do what you do in your career? And that's from Anthony Kenton and Mark Quinn.
Wow, there were some people that you probably don't know. There was a cartoon, there was a science fiction television series back in the 50s called Rocky Jones Space Rangers in 1954. And this is before there were real astronauts going into space. So there were fictional astronauts who were my heroes. And then I followed the space program and the selection of the first Mercury astronauts in 1959. So John Glenn and Gordon Cooper. I actually got to work with Gordon Cooper, and he encouraged me to do the Traveling Space Museum. So that was a big thrill. So also want to say the kinds of things that we do, because we're talking about simulators, but we haven't exactly described what they are. We travel with things like the world's smallest jet, the BD-5J. So we invite students to climb inside a real jet and operate the control surfaces. We have the only traveling space toilet exhibit. The one thing we know that all the students want to know is, how do astronauts go to the bathroom in space? And astronauts had to go to the bathroom in space before there were facilities for them to go. So we have another question.
Okay. So the question is, what is your favorite aircraft or simulation? And that's from Mrs. Jones' class. And if I may chime in, you know, I've flown several types of aircraft throughout my career. When I started out learning how to fly, I started out in a Cessna 152, which is a 2-seater airplane, and moved up to a Cessna 172, and then from there, ultimately I've flown several types of Cessnas, Beechcraft, Bonanza aircraft, and so forth, and then ultimately hiring on with the airlines, which I've been now with United Airlines for more than 38 years. I started out flying 727s airplanes, went to the DC-10s. I flew 747s, and now I'm a 777 captain with over 20,000 plus hours. And all of that is involved with simulation, and that kind of leads with your question.
Well, we have a number. We have 2 different flight simulators that we operate. My favorite is our latest. That's a 1/4 scale F-117 Nighthawk. Okay, they're no longer in production, but students of all ages can actually climb inside, and they can operate the aircraft themselves. It is all a simulation, so it's a motion simulator. So instead of just seeing things move, you actually can pitch or roll this aircraft from side to side or up and down. And so explaining pitch and roll might take an hour to students, but 2 minutes inside of a motion simulator, students immediately get that idea.
Well, Mr. Dawson, thank you for coming on, being one of our subject matter experts. We'll look forward to doing this again in the future. Hopefully this is going to be a beneficial opportunity for all of our youth out there that want to pursue a career in these fantastic fields. I guarantee it, if you go down this path, you'll have a fantastic career. And I tell all the students, I have a room with a panoramic view of the world when I travel around the world.
Excellent.
And thank you very much for coming
Thank you.
in.
Yeah.
And we're going to have another special guest coming up, Mrs. April Joy Erickson, and so thank you very much.
She's great. We know her well.
and I'm looking forward to our conversation and having our audience have an opportunity to learn from her and see some of the unique things that she's doing.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome.